Guten Tag, ich bin Beate Reifenscheid und zu meiner Rechten steht José Bechara. Wir werden ein kurzes Interview führen, damit Sie ein bisschen etwas über seine aufregende Kunst erfahren können. Glad to be with you here in your exhibition. And maybe you should just explain what's your dream of having this exhibition here and what's your concept?
Well, firstly, I would like to thank you very much for the invitation to show at the Ludwig, to bring a show to the Ludwig Museum. And for me it's very important by basically two aspects. The first one, the intrinsic importance to me as a Brazilian artist living in Brazil to have a chance to show my work in the Ludwig Museum. So it's of an enormous, I could say, happiness for me. Secondly, because this is a chance, because of the I could say specifications of the room, of the space I'm using, a chance that I can collide, I can put together in collision, I could say, works that usually I do not have chance to put together because I depend always on huge spaces. And this is important to me to take a look on the recent production, on the recent works. The works I have here, they have been produced since 2013, including ones that I finished weeks before I came. So I have very recent works, very recent investigations, and I thank again by the chance to put them together and take a look, and especially in the Ludwig Museum.
Yeah, and your investigation, is it especially on the space, on different kind of spaces? It's space and light, right? And you're also like opening the space more and more, especially in your recent works.
Especially space. You know, since you invited to this show, remember, I came to the museum 3 times.
Right.
Why? Just to see and feel the space. Usually, when we are invited to show abroad, or so, places distant, far from the studio, I used to work also with plants.
Plants only, yes.
And small models. Sometimes I make models, but it's absolutely different. So models and plants are like literature, so like right on the work. But in order to have an idea, because it changes, and I made some changes here inside the space, filling the space, I need it. So definitely, space is something that I like to think and I like to follow. Works like the graphic sculpture leads with this. How drawing the real space.
Yeah.
The only chance is if you consider that the space, the empty, the concept of empty is not only empty, it's also a substance. So,
right.
Space.
Yes,
really.
and visitors have to feel it.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that you mentioned you came 3 times just to feel the space, to explore the space. Because each time it's different.
Yeah.
And also I think the atmosphere of a space depends on what's happening around. So it's not only the space in a museum, but maybe it's also feeling of the whole surrounding, and then this is kind of filtered into a concept which you can see here as a visitor. Because you have the sculptures here, you have the paintings, you have different kinds of paintings, and then you have this beautiful new glassworks.
Yeah. Space is I agree, it's not just the space, but how activate the space. So how you empower the space, how you lead to the space. And third, space and things you put inside such a space become the same thing. Something like this.
Yeah.
How to activate it. I'm not sure that I get. I'm not sure that I beat. But I'm sure that I will continue following this way.
Yes. And is there kind of discussion in Brazil about these concepts of space? Is it important in your country too? Because we have constantly concepts, artists reflecting on this kind of fluid space as well. Because space is not fixed anymore. You cannot just define a space. Maybe you could before, but I feel that nowadays space is more open because of people traveling around the world, so they are not stick to one place. Also, the whole universe is not a small universe, it's a double, triple, whatever. So it's a huge universe. So space is always fluently, constantly changing our imagination of space as well. So the question is there also this kind of discussion in Brazil, or are you the only one exploring this kind of space?
No, of course not. And when you say space, and I'm thinking right now about your words, space can be a fluid concept. If it is fluid concept, it's not only the museological spaces, for example, but the streets also.
Yes, yes.
And if you think the streets are space, and they really are, they do are, well, sorry my English, I can think right now on Elliot Sica and Ligia Clark mailing regarding to the works that they invite the observer to take part of the work.
To play with it.
To play. The bichos of Ligia Clark and, for example, the Parango Elliot Sica, where the work exists because exists a culture in the streets, in the little hills in Brazil, and such approach to the daily life. And so, if it is true, and I hope it is, of course, I'm one of them, of course. And I can mention other artists that also leads very well with the space. For example, Valtércio Caldas. And so I would not like to list names because I will forget. Ernesto Neto, especially, yeah.
Beautiful.
Right.
Big sculptures which are like fluid space as well.
It's a friend. So, but as I told you, I know that we are recording something, so I'm a little bit stressed, so I can forget things. And but Neto really, and there are many others. I think that I will not say it. Okay, let's separate. I'm not talking by me, but I'm talking by the Brazilian artists. We have many very mature aspects that constitutes countries culturally, socially, politics, economics, in this, from the hemisphere to the south. But I don't know why our production in Brazil is, I could say, we do not have aspects like exotics from South America. So it's interesting. If you search on the Brazilian artists, you will find I could say you will have a kind of good surprise.
Yeah, good surprise.
Yeah.
Very serious artist.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what I experienced.
And in this way, many of them treats on space with different approaches. I need to feel the space itself, the measure, the atmosphere. I think Neto also, Valterso also, Hélio and Alicia in the past, in another way, with the streets. But, so, I was not prepared to answer you this.
But the answers are very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.